So today we are starting with a new chapter which is named as a reproduction. That is, the main title of the heading is How Do Organisms Reproduce? I think it's raining at your place, right?
No, ma'am, it's not in.
But I'm hearing something drizzling sound and all. Yeah, it's okay. Uh, Fine. So I just muted for a while so that I can explain. I only muted. If you want to unmute, you can mute it, unmute it. So uh, please hold pen and pencil to write the important definitions and all. So when we talk about the reproduction, like life process, how we discussed excretion, then circulation, after that respiration, nutrition. So these all are the life processes. Without these processes, a living organism cannot survive. But there is also one process. It is a process, but it is not considered as a life process. That process is a reproduction. Why this process is so necessary? This process is necessary to continue the race. Suppose think if all the dogs or cats or any animal of your wish, consider human beings only, stopped reproduction at a present year. Okay, so there will be no future generation only. So that human race will not be continued further. That is why reproduction is necessary to continue the race of a particular species. So when we come to the scientific definition of reproduction, very easy. It is a process by which living organisms produce new individuals of the same species. So while writing the definition, we should be more peculiar or familiar, guys. So here, living organism will produce new organism, new individual. That is right. That is a reproduction. But of the same species, dogs will give birth to dogs only. Human beings will give birth to human beings only. So of the same species, that process is considered as reproduction. So as I said, it is necessary for the survival and to increase the population to continue the race of a particular species. It is not a mandatory or a compulsory process, but it is a necessary process. They may ask why reproduction is not considered as a life process. We did not hear anything like, so that organism did not reproduce, so that it died. No. So there are many organisms which cannot reproduce, okay, which won't be reproduced due to some reasons. So it is not that it is they will die like that. But without respiration, without excretion, without circulation, organism may die. So that is why reproduction is not considered as a life process. I hope the concept is clear, Panchami.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just yeah, note down the definition. Just I will mark here. Once you are done, just let me know. Fine. So reproduction is a process, this one. And reproduction is necessary. Both the points you write down. Once you are done, let me know. Complete, Panchami? Did you complete?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So when I said the definition of reproduction, it is nothing but giving birth to the young one or a new species, a new organism of the same species. We will think that if human being, if suppose I am giving birth to a baby, so what we will think, the baby will be exactly the carbon copy or a Xerox copy of mine. It is not like that. So in the reproduction, no doubt there will be similarities between the parents and the children's, but there will be certain differences also. So the similarities will be by heredity, or we can say transmission of characteristics or inheritance, and the differences between you and your mother, you and your father, whichever new quality you develop. So that differences is called as variation. So as you can see here, the DNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid molecules in the chromosomes in the nucleus is responsible for the transfer of characters from the parents to the offsprings. Mainly, whatever we call these chromosomes are there, na, these are considered as hereditary vehicles. Hereditary vehicles which takes or which transfer the characters from the parents to the children. Offspring refers to children here. During the reproduction, the reproductive cells produce two copies of the DNA which separate in two cells. The DNA copies will be similar but not identical. The DNA copies will look similar but not exactly the same to each other. So the new individual have slight variation from their parents. We will be having slight differences from our parents. This is the basis of variation. So from this paragraph or point, they will ask one question: what are variations? Variations are nothing but the dissimilar characteristics. Dissimilar means, or the differences, the different characteristics of the children, between the children and the parent. So it is called as variation. Fine. So why variation is necessary? So that to evolve, for the evolution. So whatever, in whichever environment I was born, when you were born, so it is totally different. So you will be having certain characteristics. The atmosphere or the environment in which your mother was born, and the atmosphere or the environment in which period you were born is totally different. So according to the environment, the variations or the characteristics will be there in an individual. So that's why we will say variation brings about evolution or drastic change in the new species. Fine. Just write down the definition of the variation. Shall I dictate? Side heading variation. Side heading variation. The differences which are observed, the differences which are observed in an individual, the differences which are observed in an individual, alike their parents, alike their parents, are called variations. Alike their parents are called variations. Are called variations. So the question, the most popular question is, why variation is necessary? The variations or the differences from parents to children is necessary to adjust to the present environment, the changed environment. So here you can see that point. Variations in species is necessary for the survival of different species and for a evolution of new species and adjustment to the environment. So write down, variations is necessary. Variations in species is necessary. Variations in species is necessary for the survival of different species variations in species is necessary for the survival of different species variations in species is necessary for the survival of different species and for the evolution of new species and for the evolution of new species. Did you get Panchami? Okay. So when we move to the types of reproduction, the reproduction is classified into two types. The first one is asexual reproduction. The second one is sexual reproduction. No doubt in both the reproduction, a new individual, a new organism will be produced. But in the first type of reproduction, that is in a asexual reproduction, the new organism will be produced by a single parent. There will be no male and female separate parents or separate individuals to form a new organism. So here, only a small and a single parent, single organism will give rise to the new organism of a same species. So this asexual reproduction is found in lower organisms. Usually it is found in lower organisms. So here the offspring or the children or the child which is born or the offspring which is born, it will be exactly the Xerox copy of the parent, because here there will be no fusion of gametes, there will be no two separate individual, there is no formation of a zygote and all. So that is why this is called as asexual reproduction. Next type we have sexual reproduction. In this type, where two different individuals, they are involved to produce a new individual. So here the sexual reproduction, there will be a fusion of gametes. Gametes under sex cells, what we call sex cells. The cells which are involved in the reproduction, which are termed as sex cells. So in the male, the sperm will be a gamete or a sex cell. In a female, ova or an egg will be a sex cell or a gamete. So in a sexual reproduction, there will be fusion of gametes, but in asexual reproduction, only single parent will be involved to produce a new individual. I hope these types are clear for you, Panchami.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just put the heading, whether the words are visible, Panchami.
Yes, ma'am. The words are visible.
Okay. So just to write the heading, types of reproduction, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Don't write this. Just write till here. Once you are done, let me know.
Ma'am, the different types of asexual reproduction not known.
No, don't write it. Only write the definition of asexual and sexual reproduction.
Okay. Yes, ma'am, complete.
Okay. So next we have, yeah. So next we will be having the types of asexual. We will be studying the types of asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. So when we come to the asexual reproduction, here various organisms, even they produce asexually, they adapt different methods according to the environment, according to their habitat, according to their cell structure, they adapt different methods. So which are those methods? We will study one by one. The first one is here Panchami, fission anta. So in fission, it is an asexual reproduction by which unicellular organism. So it is usually for unicellular organism divides and forms two or more new individual. So only one cell will be there, which will undergo normal cell division, and whichever the new cells formed from the normal cell division, those new cells are considered as new organisms. So when only two cells will be formed from a single cell, first division admele only two cells will be formed, then it is called binary fission. Bi means two. Next, in some cases, in the unfavorable conditions, what happened? The unicellular organism cannot proceed with the binary fission. So what they will do, they will undergo continuous division. Only the nucleus part will be there. Na? So consider this as a cell, unicellular. Nucleus will be there. Only the nuclear division takes place, continuous nuclear division takes place, and until they reach favorable conditions, so the nucleus will be like this. Okay, it will be in the form of a structure which will be having many nuclei. Many nucleus are called as nuclei. So many nuclei. So that structure is called as cyst. Whenever the favorable conditions occur, so these nucleus will be released as a single or a new organisms. So here, when we come to the binary fission, in this method, an organism divides and form two individuals. First, the nucleus will be dividing. Later, cytoplasmic part, the fluid which is present in the cell, that will be divided to form two daughter cells. The new cells which are formed, these are referred as daughter cells. So binary fission is seen in two organisms, guys. So one is amoeba, the next one is paramecium. Both are unicellular microorganisms. When we come to the multiple fission, as the name says multiple andre eno? Many anta, two or more. So in this method, when organism divides into many daughter cells, then that is called as multiple fission. ಈ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ ಫಿಷನ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಇನ್ ಅಮೀಬಾ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಅನ್ಫೇವರೇಬಲ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಮೀಬಾನು ಕೂಡ ಈ ಒಂದು ಮೆಥಡ್ ಅನ್ನ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಮೆಜಾರಿಟಿ ದಿಸ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ reproduction, that is asexual reproduction, will occur in a organism, microorganism, which is called plasmodium. Plasmodium ಅನ್ನೋದು ಈ ಅಮೀಬಾ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿಗೆ ಸೇರಿದ್ದು. It belongs to the amoeba family, that is protozoa. But it is a parasite, means it is an organism which causes malaria. It is transmitted through mosquito. But which is a causing agent of malaria? Plasmodium. We studied it in 9th standard under the chapter, what is that? Health and diseases, something related to that. So in that chapter we studied it. So Plasmodium will be a unicellular organism which will undergo continuous nucleus division. You can see here in unfavorable condition. So it will be having many organisms inside one membrane. So in favorable condition, all the things will be released at a time. So this is called as multiple fission. I hope you understood the difference between binary and multiple. Yes, Panchami?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Whether they completed this chapter at school, Panchami?
Yes, ma'am. They have already completed this.
Good, good, good. So, okay. Fine. Put the heading asexual reproduction, fission, and binary fission, multiple fission. All the three definitions you write down point wise. It will be good practice for you. Once you are done, let me know. Did you complete, Panchami?
Ma'am, just a minute.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Next, sexual reproduction, which we are studying, is a budding, which we see in usually freshwater bodies and the certain microorganisms too. So in this method, why it is named as budding? Because it looks like a flower bud, a small flower bud from an organism. So it is called as budding ganta. In this method, a bud-like projection is formed on the body of an organism. The bud then develops by attaching to the parent itself. Once the development get over, once a growth is completed, it will detach from the parent organism. Example, hydra and yeast. Here you can see the hydra. Here you can see a small bud arising from the parental body. It is growing. It is also developing the tentacles. So once it is developed completely, it is detaching from the mother, that is from the parent organism. So once the next example is yeast, what you are saying, the peculiar thing, the important thing is yeast is only organism which is unicellular fungi. ಇದು ಫಂಗೈ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಮಶ್ರೂಮ್ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಮಶ್ರೂಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುವ ಈ ಒಂದು ಮಶ್ರೂಮ್ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುವ ಈ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಯೂನಿಸೆಲ್ಯುಲರ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಫೌಂಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಫಂಗೈ. So how it reproduces? It also reproduces by budding. As you can see here in this cell, just a minute, I will take the help of a laser. So this is a structure of a yeast here: cytoplasm, nucleus, and the vacuole. So after in a favorable conditions, what happens? The nucleus appears to elongate. ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದಂಗ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ elongate, it stretches, and it appears it is moving towards one end. So there will be a nuclear division occurs, as you can see, and the cytoplasm and the cell membrane will also separate. You can see number of organisms on a parent organism. During favorable condition, these small babies are there, no? These will get detached from the yeast and they will lead their own life. So like this, a budding happens. As you can see, it appears like a flower bud on a parent. So it is also considered under the example, under the method of budding. I hope the concept is clear, Panchami.
Yes.
Okay, please note down and let me know once you are done. And please draw the rough sketches also, Panchami. Rough sketches of yeast as well as hydra. Okay, na? Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Then
Okay. So restore, regeneration, fragmentation, spore formation, we will learn in the next session, Panchami. Okay? Okay, please do note the timings of tomorrow's session. Please recheck it so that you can attend on time. Fine? Well done. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.